It was just another day at fish school in Miss Story's classroom. Usually the students were welcoming of new friends, but once Miss Story introduced Lance, the students weren't so enthused to meet their new peer. Lance was a great white shark. Usually they go to shark school, but Lance's parents had just moved into the neighborhood, so he had no choice but to go to fish school. But Lance wasn't your normal shark. He loved playing with all the sea creatures, especially fish. He made good grades, and he even volunteered in the kelp kitchen in his free time. He was the sweetest and kindest shark to swim in the great wide ocean, and on top of that, he was a vegetarian. But Mrs. Dory's students didn't know that Lance was a gentle giant. They just assumed he was a ferocious fish-eating shark. Each of his classmates glared at him as he took his seat at the front of the class. The day started out by Miss Story reading Rainbow Fish to everyone. But when Lance raised his fin to answer one of her questions, Sylvia quickly sneered that he couldn't answer because he wasn't even a real fish. When Lance opened his mouth to tell Sylvia that he had a half-cousin that was a fish, adopted of course, he got in trouble for interrupting Miss Story's reading. Sylvia's gray scales gleamed brighter as she watched him get in trouble. Lance thought this day could not get any worse, but it turned out English class had only been the beginning of one awful day. Lance swam over to his classmates, hoping he would be able to get to know his new friends over lunch, but they all scurried away to their own lunch bunches when Lance appeared. He sadly sulked over to the unwanted kelp and ate his tofu burger by himself. He knew this whole fish school was not going to be easy. Recess was just as lonely for Lance. All the other kids were playing in the shells, but Lance was too big to fit inside. Not that anyone would have wanted him to play with them anyway. It especially got awkward when Lance suggested to play his all-time favorite childhood game, Sharks and Minnows. When 3:30 rolled around, all the parents came to pick up their guppies. Lance saw the parents whispering behind their fins, keeping a large distance from his own parents, Bruce and Stella. Lance had just left the classroom when he saw his parents at the other side of the schoolhouse frowning at the shells. Lance quickly turned around due to the parents' gasp of the worst thing you can see down under. A scuba diver! The scuba diver reached her hand out to snatch up Sylvia as she was too stunned to even swim away. Everyone was trying to figure out a way to make the scuba diver leave, but Lance knew this was his moment to shine. He made the meanest face he could and swam right up to the sea explorer and roared, "Don't take my friends!" The scuba diver's eyes bulged, and she quickly swam back to her boat as fast as her fake flippers could fly. Lance turned back around to see the whole school cheering for him. His parents swam over and hugged him as all the other parents invited their family to their anemone for dinner.